I'm here with the one and only Joey Chestnut, 12-time Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest champ. Joey, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, so anytime you compete in these events, are you always shooting for like a record or do you just kind of see how things go?
Well, I'm always training to try to get a record. I know my competitors; they know what I'm capable of, so they're trying to beat my record. And even if it's like they know that's what they would have to beat. So I have to try to beat my own record also, even if it looks like I'm going to be ahead by a lot. But it it, yeah, it's always a battle though because the conditions change every year. Hot dogs they get cooked a little bit differently, and it, it, it's it's hard and well, even if I'm like tip top, it could be the conditions could change numbers quite a bit.
Well, speaking of your competition, who's your biggest competition this year?
Oh my god, it's and this is another weird thing about this year. Like usually there's qualifiers and so I have an idea of how they're doing in their practices. But this year it was an invitational because all the qualifiers got canceled because of the this virus. And no, but it's so I'm expecting Darren Breeden to be my biggest competition. This guy, he has an awesome capacity. He got second last year. He's been telling people he's been eating over 60 for like a month already. So like if he was eating 60 hot dogs a month ago, I'm expecting him to be eating more than that now. So I have to use that as motivation. I don't know what he's capable of. I just have to assume he's capable of beating me if I get lazy. So I can't get lazy.
So, how's the competition shifting indoors with no fans like impact your performance?
There's so many just little things. Like there's no audience. Sometimes the audience really does help. The audience starts chanting, and it helps me just like get this pulsating rhythm, where I just keep just vicious rhythm where I don't want to stop. And that there's no way that's going to happen this year. And also the crowd also kind of it deadens all the noise from the other eaters. Sometimes these eaters, I mean, even me, like when we're eating, we're burping, where the noises coming out of our mouths are not appetizing, and like the sound from the crowd like, makes it so I can't hear myself and I can't hear the other eaters. Now without the audience, there's a chance that I could be hearing Darren or Esper like gag, and that's not going to make me eat faster. It's so I just got I'm gonna have to zone out and just and it's all another thing. There's no audience at all. Like, even like I always have a couple of people in front of me who are friends who are really close who are yelling at me. And this year, nobody, no, and nobody has anybody who's like coaching them or just on their side. So it's just a different game altogether.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely going to be different. I mean, I hope we don't get a domino effect of the gagging. That could be bad. Well, I got to know, like, do you consider the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Competition the Super Bowl of competitive eating?
Oh, absolutely. This is the this is the contest. If you're a competitive eater, you have to do well in hot dogs. Otherwise, you're not a competitive eater. You're just kind of pretending. And this year, and the good one good thing about this year is it's all some of the top eaters, and we're gonna have the highest average ever by far. I think. Oh my God! I think there might be one eater eating under 40 hot dogs, and a lot of eaters. I mean, it's gonna be the highest average ever, and we're gonna be intense. Everybody there is gonna be working to try to beat the guy next to him.
So, I mean, the question on a lot of people's minds is probably what goes into training as a competitive eater?
Oh my God, a lot more than I ever thought I would. I I started in 20 when I was 21, I just like kind of ate, and then I started like thinking, all right, maybe if I fasted beforehand, I could eat more, and it worked. And then I started thinking about how maybe I could stretch my stomach with water and do other things like uh, where make my capacity bigger. And then I started thinking about strengthening my jaw and my throat. And there's just so many weird things. And now I've pretty much figured out a nice cycle where I do a practice contest and there's a couple days recovery, and then and then maybe 1 day of the week I'm eating like normal, then I go back into fasting mode before I do another practice. And every practice, I uh, I try to build my tolerance a little bit more with the hot dog, and get my body a little bit stronger, and and get all those little muscles, and from my jaws, my throat, esophagus, and even my abdomen, just to work the food down and digest, and just accept more, a little bit more every week.
So fascinating. I mean, this is definitely a unique sport here. So, when did you realize that you could make a career out of competitive eating?
Oh my god, it was not. Uh, it wasn't my goal at all. Like I went to school for engineering, and I started doing this, and even after I was like the hot dog champ, I still had a normal job, and and I didn't want to give up my normal job because I worked so hard in school. And but then eventually I was like, oh my god, I love the eating and the competition, and so eventually sponsors were paying me enough to give up my day job, and I think I gave it up when I was 24, 25. It was like 11 years ago, and now I'm living the dream. I get to travel, or before the quarantine, I was living the dream. But I was traveling, eating, beating the heck out of people, meeting happy people. I go to restaurants and people will be like, "Oh, I want to give you my best food." I'm like, "Yes."
I love that. I mean, hopefully you just slide right back into that when, quarantine's over. So, what is the strangest thing, Joey, that you've ever eaten in a competition?
What's the worst thing or best thing? You broke on there.
Strangest, so I feel like I wanna go with, like, worst.
Ooh, strangest. Oh, that's easy. I did cow brain tacos once, and
Oh,
it was a mistake. I did it because it was there was a big zombie pub crawl party, and they were giving, like, they said, "Oh, you can come and we party with the rock bands," and like, yeah. So, but these brains, they looked like they were real. They they looked like brains. They're all purple and veiny, and it had some metallic taste, and yeah, so Matt was eating right next to me, Matt Stoney, and so I pretty much just watched like him. I couldn't even look at my own plate. I was just picking up one right after him, and I tried to stay one ahead of him. I ate just enough to win.
I was
I
gonna
felt
say,
a
like,
little.
how many of those did you get down?
I did 50. I just did 54, and he did 53. Yeah,
Wow, that's impressive.
uh,
Well
it wasn't my proudest moment.
well, you still won though, so speaking of your proudest moment, I mean, you have, like, a very impressive list of wins, but which victory in competitive eating are you most proud of?
Oh, most proud. I think when I first beat Kobayashi in 2007, it was I mean, it was just kind of like, it was awesome. It was like when I started, people said he couldn't be beat, and it's like I mean, I've done some things in my life, but like, I mean, that's the only thing I've done that like people said I couldn't do. Like when you go to school or you do something, like, oh, people are like, oh, you can do it. You just got to try hard. And like when I said, oh, I'm gonna beat Kobayashi, and people were like, no, he can't be beat. I'm like, so it was that's just a really special like thing. Like, oh, I did something that people thought I couldn't do, or they thought that nobody could do, and it sticks with me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy impressive. Well, you've won it 12 times, but which Nathan's hot dog eating contest has been the most memorable for you?
Ooh, well, there's the one I just mentioned, but there was one year against Kobayashi also. We tied. We the second year in 2008, and we had to eat in overtime. It was the craziest thing. I mean, it was it was so intense. Like I couldn't believe it happened. Like I couldn't watch a replay because I thought it gave me anxiety just watching the replay. It was an amazing year, and we so after we tied, then we had to do an eat off, a 5 dog eat off, and which was just perfect for me because that's how I practice. I do a practice contest, eat for 10 minutes, take a little breather, then I start eating again. And I knew once they said it was 5 dogs, like, all right, I'm gonna turn it on, and I smoked them.
Amazing. Joey Chestnut, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us here at DraftKings.
Oh, thank you so much. Great talking to you.